Welcome to Face Today. This is the first news media about lucid dreams, sleep paralysis, and other phase states. If you missed latest news on our website or social media, we've prepared a full video review for you. Are you ready? Brain rhythms leading to out-of-body experiences discovered. Dissociative states are usually described as a feeling of disconnection from reality or an out-of-body experience. Most often, these altered states of consciousness are reported by people who suffer from narcolepsy or epilepsy. A perfectly healthy person can also experience dissociation or an out-of-body experience in lucid dreams or under the influence of anesthetics. The neurological basis for this phenomenon, however, remains a mystery to scientists. In September 2020, the scientific journal Nature published an article by researchers Sam Bassana and Isaac V. Kauvar from the Department of Bioengineering at Stanford University, which identifies the brain rhythm underlying dissociative states as scientific first. In a laboratory experiment, the scientists injected mice with a number of drugs that cause dissociation. In response to these drugs, increased neural activity in a specific area of the brain was recorded. The animals also showed signs of dissociation. They did not run away from threats or try to escape when picked up by the tail, indicating that they were not aware of their bodies or the surrounding circumstances. The scientists were able to confirm a similar result in a patient suffering from epilepsy. With the help of implanted electrodes, a similar activity of frequencies in the posterior medial cortex was found. The participant experienced signs of being in a dissociative state before the epilepsy attack. The area of the brain in question is known to be important for a variety of cognitive functions, including episodic memory and orientation. While it's too early to draw definitive conclusions from this initial experiment, this research direction can have far-reaching implications for neurobiology and the treatment of dissociative disorders. Musical stimulation found ineffective for lucid dreams. Despite the fact that an increasing number of lucid dreams induction techniques are being tested every year, none of them have been able to guarantee a 100% result as of yet. Today, this is one of the main problems plaguing scientists attempting to study lucid dreams in the laboratory setting. In April 2020, a new study was conducted combining a sleep fragmentation protocol with reality testing and musical simulation. The authors, Daniel Schmid and Daniel Erlacher of the University of Bern, Switzerland, try to find out if playing the same melody during wakefulness and subsequent REM sleep could increase the chance of having a lucid dreaming experience. The idea was that by playing familiar music during REM sleep, the participant would be reminded to perform a reality check test. The dream itself alternated with periods of wakefulness. However, although the scientists expected high rates of successful phase state induction, the results were inconclusive. A total of 21 participants spent one night in the sleep laboratory. The combined induction technique managed to provoke lucid dreaming in only 3 of them, 14.3%, and none of these dreams were confirmed by eye movement signals. Thus, the combination of musical simulation with reality checks proved to be less effective than many other techniques. The study was published in April 2020 in the International Journal of Dream Research Scientific Magazine. Scientists write fiction about lucid dreams. Many famous writers from different eras have used dream motifs in their works. However, the number of dream scientists who have published books of fiction is quite small. The Dream Keepers, an Invictus mystery thriller by the famous dream and nightmare researcher Antonio Zadra, published in June 2020, is a good exception to the rule. The detective thriller consists of 54 chapters that fit together like a puzzle. The author, who is also a professor in the Department of Psychology at the University of Montreal, skillfully describes a world divided into 3 separate realms: reality, the realm of ordinary dreams, and the realm of dreams beyond the mind, called anomia. The lead character, James Dillon, is the head of a sleep laboratory in Montreal, specializing in forensic sleep research. His job is to investigate cases in which he must determine whether the defendants were actually sleepwalking when they committed their crimes, or whether they are faking it. Blurring the boundaries between dreams and reality, the author turns to the topic of lucid dreams and lucid nightmares, where the dream keepers and the Taurines are at war for control over humanity through nightmares. Of particular interest are the author's own experiences, which served as the basis for many scenes of lucid dreams and nightmares in the book. The author also promised that the book will have 2 sequels. 4 main triggers for lucid dreaming. Despite the fact that lucid dreaming is experienced spontaneously by about 50% of the general population, scientists still cannot explain the mechanisms by which a person is able to realize that he or she is asleep. In September 2020, a new study aiming to create a detailed typology of lucid dreaming triggers was published in the journal Dreaming. To achieve this objective, participants were asked to write about their most memorable lucid dream and identified what made them realize they were sleeping. In total, out of the 148 participants who filled out the questionnaires, 91 people had experienced lucid dreams and were able to answer the questions about the quality of their awareness in detail. Thematic analysis of the responses allowed the researchers to come up with a classification that consisted of 4 main categories of triggers: anomaly identification, identification of a sleep-like quality, emotional arousal, and other. The first group of triggers included anomalies that are incompatible with what usually happens in real life. This trigger was mentioned in 39.8% of responses, making it the most common. The identification of a dream-like quality included the so-called déjà vu sensations, the realization that a person had already experienced a similar experience in a dream, or a recurring dream. In 29% of the responses, the participants reported that they became aware of themselves in a dream, experiencing strong emotional arousal. In a third of cases, a combination of triggers occurred simultaneously. These findings indicate that further in-depth study of lucid dreaming triggers can be fruitful and help better understand the nature of the cognitive processes involved in achieving lucid dreaming. New dream control device released. It's not a secret that many lucid dream practitioners know how to control the content of their dreams. This phenomenon has also aroused great interest among developers and engineers. Thus, in August 2020, scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, led by Adam Harwitz, looked to lucid dreams as a basis for developing a dream control device. The device, called Dormio, consists of a finger sensor bracelet that tracks sleep patterns and an app that uses recorded messages to suggest dream themes. When the sleeper enters a state of hypnagogia, the early stage of semi-conscious sleep that occurs when falling asleep, the device emits targeted information, allowing it to be directly incorporated within the dream's content. According to a study published in the scientific journal Consciousness and Cognition, the authors conducted an experiment on 50 participants. Subjects first recorded sound prompts about what they would like to see in the dream via the application. A special device, a sleep tracker, then monitored the subject's heart rate and other characteristics to determine when they enter the hypnagogia state. At that moment, Dormio's sleep tracker interacted with the app, which sent audio prompts at specific time intervals. Scientists noticed that often the prompts were transformed in the course of the dream, becoming more and more bizarre. However, in 67% of dreams, the subject still saw the desired object. Although the development of such devices has not yet been perfected, scientists are confident that it can already be used to develop creativity, learn a foreign language, or deal with sources of stress. And, in case the user wants to dive into an alternate reality, this knowledge can also be useful for practitioners of lucid dreaming. Scientists attempt to recreate real-world scenes in lucid dreams. Lucid dreaming is often associated with control over the plot of dreams, although the limitations of this control are not yet fully understood. In a new study, scientist Remington Mallet, the author of an experiment to create a computer-brain interface using lucid dreams, studied the ability to recall memories of waking senses in lucid dreams. Participants in the experiment were invited to the laboratory and asked to explore the experimental room. Then they were asked to recreate the scene in a lucid dream. The experimental room contained a variety of objects, including a rubber rattlesnake, a portrait, an abstract painting, and an analog clock set to 6:15. A total of 23 volunteers took part in the study. 9 of them reported being able to recreate a laboratory scene in a dream. In doing so, they used different strategies. Some found themselves in the room effortlessly, some had the intention of visualizing the room, while others had to make their way into the laboratory through a corridor full of obstacles. Qualitative analysis showed that reconstructions of the scenes in the dreams were inaccurate compared to the original experimental scene. For example, the clock was showing the wrong time, the portrait was blurry, and some objects in the room were animated. Thus, in several dreams the snake was real and moving, the clock showed midnight, and both the abstract painting and the person in the portrait were alive. However, it is impressive that the participants were able to recall the real laboratory scene with such clarity as to recognize the inaccuracies in their dreams. This holds promise for future research on recreating memories. The article was published in August 2020 in the scientific magazine Consciousness and Cognition. As you can see, our topic is actively developing. In order not to miss new discoveries, right now subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media, where we publish news daily. All links are in the description. See you next week.